afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fifth day of Ukrainian fight against Russian forces. And today we want to bring into the studio people who are fighting for Ukraine. We will talk about it. We have guest from Ukraine who is now there on the field, on the battle, and fighting with everybody else. And we salute the brave nation of Ukrainian people. And I would like to start it with the speech of President of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky.
Українські герої.
I wish health to all of the Ukrainian heroes. Today is the fifth day of the full-blown war of Russia against the people of Ukraine. We are standing strong. In these 5 days, we have endured more than some nations would endure in decades. For a long time, we were told that we are not correct in some ways, that we need to spend years to work on some kind of homework. And this is why we often couldn't understand what we are capable of. Now we have expressed ourselves fully, and it is very inspiring to us all. In every talk with our partners, I feel their real respect for us. We have shown to the world who we are, and Russia have shown to the world what it has become. Just think for a second that in these 5 days of Russian assault, 16 Ukrainian children are dead. 45 are wounded. But every attack of the occupants makes us stronger and makes our partners stronger. Russia didn't believe in such a united reaction of solidarity, but Ukrainians have changed the course of the history. European Union have decided to give us weapons. It is really appreciated. Yesterday, I was talking to Ursula von der Leyen, President of EU Commission, about our next steps. Europeans understand that Ukrainian soldiers are fighting not only for themselves, but for all Europe, for all the countries of the European Union, for peace, for the lives of children, for equity, for freedom, for democracy. And it gives us right to ask the following. We are asking to bring Ukraine into European Union with the new urgent procedure. We are grateful to our partners that they are fighting with us, but our aim is to be together with European nations as an equal member of Europe. I believe that it is fair. I believe that we have deserved it. I am sure that it is possible. Yesterday, I was talking to President of Portugal, Lithuania, with President of France, Emmanuel Macron, President of Poland, Andrzej Duda. I'm very grateful to Andrzej for our work. I was talking to presidents of Belgium, Spain, and English President Boris Johnson. The support of our anti-war coalition is complete and unprecedented. Europe have closed their sky to all Russian planes. Global businesses are refusing to deal with Russian companies. We will see how this week will end for Russian currency, how much Russian ruble will fall. So far, during all this invasion of Ukraine, Russian Federation endured such massive economic cost. We can compare it to the cost of war going through the Russian territory. Tell me, why do you need it? What is it for? What's there for Russian teachers, mothers, Russian businessmen, and Russian people in general? Already we have 4,500 of Russian soldiers dead. What was the reason for them to come here? What about the columns of Russian war weapons coming against us? From Crimea, from our Crimea, from Yalta, Yevpatory, Sudak, Simferopol. It is not the names of war formation for tanks. Just to remind you, 4,500 Russian occupants are killed. Please, abandon your war machines and go home. Do not trust your commanders. Do not trust your propagandists. Simply save your lives and go. Every hour we dedicate to make our country stronger. Everyone who is able to fight for our country must do so. This was not an easy decision from the moral point of view, but it was a good decision from the country point of view. In the time of martial law, all the Ukrainians who are serving their sentences at the moment, who had fighting experience in the conflict in Donbas region, will be released from prisons. They will have an opportunity to compensate their guilt in the hottest fights of this war. All the sanctions will be lifted from those people. The most important thing now is our defense. When I was running for presidency, I was telling that every Ukrainian is a president because we all are responsible for our country, for our wonderful Ukraine. This is what is happening now. Every one of us is a warrior, whenever he is. I am sure that every one of us will win. Long live Ukraine.
Кожен з нас переможе. Слава Україні!
That was a very powerful speech from Vladimir Zelensky. And I now would like to say hi to Viktor Palchik, who is now in Ternopil region in Ukraine. Viktor, thank you for coming to us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Victor, I know that you have heard Vladimir Zelensky's speech, and it is very inspiring, and it is a great speech. The one question that is widely discussed in the social media is about people who are going out of prisons, whose convictions are lifted, in order to give them weapons and give them opportunity to protect their country. Do you have any more information about who those people are and why Vladimir Zelensky is allowing them to get out of prisons?
Yes, I have information, and this information is following. Those people were imprisoned because of some serious, how to say, illegal actions, and
Right.
they are military men. They are military men who can help currently Ukraine to solve the situation in which it is. So they can fight and they can help to defend our country. That's why it was a decision of Vladimir Zelensky.
Thank you very much. Could you please tell us the crimes that they have committed? Was it during their operation in Donbas region some time ago in 2014 or later? Or what was common denominator in their fault? What wrongdoings did they do?
Every person had different wrongdoings. I cannot say the exact information per each person, but I know that some of them were the warriors on Donbas region, and some of them did some other types of crimes. But the reason to invite them to fight against Russia is that they decided that they want to do it. They decided that they want to do it, and they want to defend our country because they also Ukrainians. Because from this aggression, they think that they can be useful for us, and we also think so. I mean, Vladimir Zelensky and me too.
That's great. I think people have to be given this opportunity to protect their country, even if they have some wrongdoings in the past. I think they can really help, especially if those are trained military men. It would be a bit of a waste to keep them in prison while the country is getting occupied. Do you feel that country is getting occupied because Berdyansk area is now under the occupation? And how do you think people will work under the territories that are becoming occupied?
So I had to go away from Irpin, which is really near to Kiev, and I could see the problems which happened there, and I thought that it would be occupied, but with the help of our army, it wasn't occupied because many military vehicles were destroyed and many military men were destroyed too. But speaking about Berdyansk, which is located in the southeastern part of Ukraine, it has much more serious situation because it's located also near the sea, in which Russia has a lot of ships. Because of that, it can be occupied with the higher probability.
I remember Berdyansk because I was there in times of Soviet Union. I remember the Berdyansk market, and it does hit me home. It like hits me that the territory is now under attack and occupied. So in other areas, how is the morale? Because yes, Russia was expecting it to be a really, really easy ride, but Ukraine put such an amazing, enormous resistance. I would like to ask you, because you're there, how is this morale? Do you keep up, guys?
When the strikes began, it was really difficult for me. The morale, I don't think that it was really high. But when our army began to support us, to defend us, to kill the invaders, the morale became much higher. When we hear that European Union supports us too, it provides us help, it provides us weapon, and we think that we can defend our country.
That's great, and I can see the enormous support. I've been to a huge demonstration yesterday in London and in Trafalgar Square, and I could see how London is coming together to help you, and aircrafts from all over the Europe are now stopped flying into Russia, and I can see how Russian partners in crime are abandoning them. And also I can see that businesses around the world just stop working with the dictator, which is fantastic because it's such an initiative from grassroots, from people in general. And do you think that this urgent procedure to take Ukraine into European Union will happen soon? How do you feel about it?
I'm hoping that it will be. It is the hope not only from me, but from the whole population of Ukraine. So we want to be the member of European Union. We feel that we are the members there. And our desire to be there happened so long ago that I think that it's the time to get it.
Yeah, that's great, and I think that would be the result of this invasion. I think the result will be totally opposite. The Europe will get stronger, the NATO will get stronger, all world will come together, and Ukraine will be a part of European countries, which is amazing that Ukraine will join European Union soon. I am from Belarus myself. I'm from Minsk originally, and we are deeply ashamed, and we are sorry that Belarus today is used as the Platzdarm for the invasion, for weapons, for Russian war machine. But I'm only hoping that Belarusians, first of all, will be fighting on the side of Ukrainians, and secondly, that Belarus soldiers who are sent to Ukraine to fight Ukrainian soldiers will be abandoning their weapons and just surrender. What is the mood regarding Ukrainians? Sorry, regarding Belarusians in Ukraine, that situation with Belarus?
You know, we don't want to kill anyone. We don't want to make any harm to anyone. But if the soldiers come to us with the military vehicles and destroy our country, kill our people, kill our defenders, then we will have to fight back. Because of that, we ask Belarusian, such as Russian also, not to come and not to invade Ukraine. But if you come, then feel free to get ready to be killed.
Thank you. This is the great message. And after our talk in English, I will go to my channel and speak Russian. So for everybody who come here today who are of Russian speaking and don't understand English, or Belarusian speaking don't understand English, I will be back on air soon after our interview, and I will be talking to you in Russian. So don't worry, I will be with you a little bit later. But thank you for coming. Victor, so I understand that Ukrainians are very nice people. They are generally very genuine, very supportive. They are very hospitable. They are nice. You know, you go to Ukraine, you feel good, you feel at home. And I've got relatives in Kiev as well. So how is it possible that that wonderful nation put up such an enormous fight and holds on?
Well, it's a good question. I couldn't expect it to. But I think the reason of that is that we do not want to have the situation which was already during 8 years in the eastern part of Ukraine, when more than 14,000 of Ukrainians were already killed, and it didn't help us to get our parts of Ukraine back. It didn't help also to get Crimea back. And currently what we see, Russia, with the support of Belarus too, tries to get another part of Ukraine, or not the part, but the whole Ukraine. So we are not ready to lose anything more. And I think that is the main reason why you can see so great fight from our side.
Thank you for mentioning it, because we have a interview which we will watch later of the guy from Russia. Maybe we can put this interview on now, or who is telling that he is deeply sorry for the Russian fights, for this Russian invasion, because he just doesn't understand what Russia needs it for. And actually nobody understands what it is for, because Russia's got no shortage of territories, no shortage of supplies. They've got enough of everything. Why do they need to go and invade Ukraine? What is Ukrainian take on it?
Разговоры сейчас, естественно, про Украину. Я тоже буду об этом говорить, но немного в другом ключе. У меня вопрос к людям разумным, рациональным, умным и в то же время чувствительным и эмоциональным. Ребят, как вы справляетесь с пониманием того, что люди ебанутые, блядь, конченые просто. И мы, блядь, разрушаем нахуй все, к чему мы прикасаемся. Нет, есть, конечно, процент людей, которые понимают, что в 21 веке у нас, блядь, нет нехватки ресурсов, нет нехватки еды, нехватки территорий, перенаселения, блядь, не существует. По статистике, по статистическим данным, после 8 миллиардов будет резкий спад. Но, блядь, в большинстве своем люди агрессивные, сука, обезьяны, готовые убивать за идею, блядь. И я нихуя не могу с этим сделать. Все мечты Брэдбери, Хайнлайна о космосе, о любви, об открытом мире нахуй никому не нужны. Опять же, есть люди, которым они нужны, но, сука, мы агрессивные обезьяны, блядь, и выживают наглые, выживают злые, выживают хитрые, коварные и беспринципные. И мы продолжаем жить так же. И этого хватит на мою жизнь, возможно, на жизнь моих детей. Но мы летим в пизду, и я ничего не могу с этим сделать. Я не знаю, как с этим справляться. Я из России уехал 8,5 лет назад, и я открещиваюсь от нее всеми силами, бегу от нее, она меня, сука, догоняет, и я уже не могу отключать эмоции, потому что груз вины, блядь, невыносимый за это. Я не понимаю, что с этим делать. Я отключаюсь просто от всех эмоций, потому что иначе я не понимаю. Я не понимаю, как извиниться перед украинцами, блядь, я не понимаю, как откреститься от этой вины, блядь. Ребят, пожалуйста, напишите в комментах, как вы справляетесь, потому что я не вывожу. Спасибо. Я знаю, что нужно поддерживать, нужно выражать, нужно...
Yes, the poor guy from Russia obviously left Russia 8 years ago, and since then he was trying to shield himself from everything Russian. He's trying to kind of leave Russia and everything attached to Russia. But Russia is kind of chasing him, and he feels that Russia is now upon him once again. And he doesn't understand how comes that in this century people are so ridiculous, so cruel, so violent, so awful. When we had such a fantastic dreams about the future, not long time ago, we had Bradbury, Highlines. We had so many interesting ideas how we can live in love and peace and harmony. And now we can see that not nice people surviving, but we can see the survival of the bandits, survival of the worst kind, survival of cruelest. And he feels that there is nothing he can do about it, and he's crying about it, and he's upset about it, and he says that he don't know how to hold on anymore emotionally because the guilt about Russian behavior is too much upon him, and it is overwhelming so much that he doesn't know how to switch it off, how to switch his emotions, and he can only express how massively sorry he is to all the Ukrainians for this Russian invasion. So, Victor, I'm sure there are many, many Russian people like that. Do you receive their messages now? Victor, your microphone is muted.
Sorry. I don't receive many messages from Russian people now, but I got some. I have relatives in Russia, in Moscow. They communicate with me, and they also are really sorry for what is happening, and they could not even predict that it could be so. That I could not predict that the country which I considered always a good one, a friendly country, could invade and could become an enemy. I know that the majority of Russians are good people, but I also think that they should be more proactive when they select what people are their leaders. If they are not that proactive, then they are also responsible for what is happening from their side too.
I've received very mixed messages from Russian community in London because I've got people who support Vladimir Putin, and they call me horrible words and trying to tell me that I'm wrong, and they support the assault on Ukraine. And I've got other people who just scared to say anything because they're scared of response of Russian bandits back home, that they will attack their relatives if they will say something. However, I hope that in the course of the day, when Russia will experience this massive economic sanctions, and also people will see that all world is united against this aggression, they may actually change their minds. Do you think it is going to be possible for Ukraine to hold on for another week?
I really hope so. I see that we are able to fight. We have really strong military men. We also have friends from Europe and from USA, and we are provided with new weapons, and we can see that nothing is impossible. We are on our country and we protect it. Because of that, we have no other choice.
Yes, you do it, and I can see women and elderly and everybody are now fighting, and they put in such a hell of a fight that I can see some Russian soldiers, some Russian forces, they're just going back home on foot because their battalions are, the techniques is destroyed, and they just can't hold on any longer. I think we can see the United Nations is still going on. The United Nations Special Assembly is going on today as we speak right now, and hopefully they will bring in some resolution. I would like to switch on the Vladimir Klitschko's speech today. It's going to be in German, and we will read the English subtitles for you.
Liebe Freunde in Deutschland, in der Schweiz, Österreich, Luxemburg, Liechtenstein und alle anderen Ländern im freien Europa. Die Bürger von Kiew haben noch eine höllische Nacht hinter sich. 4 Millionen Menschen in meiner Stadt haben nicht geschlafen. Sie haben mit allen Mitteln versucht, die russische Aggression und die Türen unserer Häuser zu stoppen.
We are trying to stop Russian aggression, and we want Russia to stop war in the Ukraine.
Wir lieben unser Land.
We love our place. We love our country. We will stand strong till we all die. We have rockets thrown upon us. Our children and wives and elderly are under attack. We want your help now, please. We want our help immediately. We need to survive. Please, create the anti-war coalition, give us some money, give us everything you can, and long live Ukraine. I think he's just appealing to everybody for whatever help they can offer at the moment. And I'm sure world will come together with the great help offerings, because I can't see how anybody can stand aside and don't be political today when these atrocities are happening. Victor, I understand you are in a relatively safe situation right now, right? You are in a relatively safe area. Do you afraid that this area will not be safe soon?
Yes. Yes, I'm afraid, and I have done some actions. I visited. I just became the member of the territorial, defense system of the place where I'm located. And because of that, I'm a member of the community which tries to defend this small place. And because of that, I hope that we will be able to protect it. But I also hope that our great military will be able to support us in case of any invaders.
It looks like military is doing enormous work. I mean, everybody were thinking that day 2 Kiev will be surrendered. And everybody thought that Kharkiv will be going, and everybody thought that that will be over in 3 days. But only relatively small cities now taken and under Russian control. But I don't know for how long, because I can see that people already start fighting. People already start pushing them back. And occupation administration is not necessarily taking it under control because of enormous people's resistance. They just don't obey. They just don't do. They just don't treat them as any authorities whatsoever. Could you please tell me, how is the infrastructure? Do you get food?
Are you asking now, or
yes,
you're
now
asking
the infrastructure of your city? Or maybe you know something about other cities. How is people?
The infrastructure in the destroyed towns like Irpin, Bucha is really poor. People have to get food there, and it's a problem currently. But if to speak about the place where I am located, there is no problem of food. There is only some problems with banking system. But we survive. We take the food from here and try to send it to the places where it is needed. We communicate also and try to help all the people which are in need.
Is it your first experience of war in your life?
Yes. I wouldn't like to have any more such experience. It's terrible experience, and I woke up when it started, and I couldn't even believe that it started the war.
We didn't believe it either. I think half of the world couldn't believe it. It was such a strange perspective, because I'm a member of Ukrainian English Business Society, and there were lots of talks about investments and finances, and it was all looking quite good, and perspectives were calculated, and we were talking about fabulous opportunities and business development, and suddenly all this became a different reality. How are businesses coping with that in Ukraine?
So, the business tries to help our defenders, and of course they have some problems. They have some logistic problems. They have problems with the lack of personnel, which tries to escape from all those horror. But they understand that after it finishes, they will have ability to become even better than it was before.
Sincerely hope so, and I really wish you will win. I'd like Russia to lose this battle. I'm very much on Ukrainian side, and I hope that we will win, and the world needs to win. I think that's how we need to talk about it now. The world must win over Russian aggression now.
With the help of Ukraine.
Must win over autocracy. What about hospitals? I can see that people are asking about the hospitals. How the hospitals function in your area, at least?
Frankly speaking, I was not in the hospital, though I am sick. I've got COVID, but because I was vaccinated 3 times already, it's not so drastic for me. So I have just some fever, some problems with throat, and
thank you for coming to talk to us. You are under war, you are with the COVID, and you are still operating and you're talking. That's the spirit. That's Ukrainian. I can see you are Ukrainian.
Yeah, so we have the problems with hospitals, but people support them, and also we have support again from the European Union. We get some volunteers which provide medical equipment to us and so on. So, but I would like to ask to get it more if it is possible.
I've heard that there is no oxygen or some limited oxygen supply. Is it true?
Frankly speaking, I don't know about that anything.
I think that's obviously Ukraine is a very big country, and some parts will be relatively all right, and some parts will be under massive attack. And the important is that you all are fighting together. And to keep spirit up, I'd like us to listen now to a Ukrainian song, and maybe you can translate it for us later, just to explain what the song is about. Because when I've heard this song today, I was crying and I had goosebumps. So if I will be crying and sobbing, I've got my tissue nearby. And let's listen to this powerful girl who is singing the Ukrainian song.
Okay.
України ні слава, ні воля, ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля. Згинуть наші вороженьки, як роса на сонці, запануєм і ми, браття, у своїй сторонці, душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду, душу й тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Слава Україні!
Oh my goodness, that's incredible. And she's just singing that song that probably was sung in many wars that Ukraine had. Could you
It's
please
the
translate
Ukrainian.
a little bit?
It's the Ukrainian anthem, and this song is about the fights which we can do to get our freedom.
This is
Mainly.
incredible, because many of those songs, and I'm sure every culture has song like that, and it is passed down through generation, and you sort of see your parents singing it around the table, and you don't understand the meaning of it. You don't understand the words, but it just tells something strange. We've got in Belarus also songs like that from the medieval time, but at times like that you understand what that song was about. So that's really incredible, and it does bring tears to my eyes. It does.
Yeah, it's really like suitable for the situation, for the current situation. Yes,
Which is terrible.
the words of this anthem like really fit here.
Yeah, and that's we were brought up in Europe. I was brought up in the USSR, my generation, in the Soviet Union, where we were talking about all this nations that living together in peace, and Ukraine and Belarus and Russia are sort of sisters, brothers, whatever, relatives, and that we never fought with each other. However, when I started looking at the history, I can see that Russia was always in war with the Commonwealth, Lithuanian, Polish, Ukraine was part of it. Then it was in war with Poland, Rzeczpospolita. So Russian Empire was always kind of in some kind of fight with the Ukrainian and Belarusian territory. And it's if the same happening in history once more. Belarus is occupied now under Russian control, and Russia tries to take Ukraine same way they did in 17th century. Do you have the same kind of feeling?
Yes, I know that Russia invaded many countries, and not only Belarus, Ukraine, but it also the Finland, Georgia, and other countries. And I feel that this country is too powerful to exist, and that's why I would like it to be destroyed. It just has done so many evil things. It has killed so many people that it should be destroyed. That's my opinion.
I can see that there is a growing understanding that one monster, the massive monster which Russia is, doesn't really need to exist. I remember a time of perestroika when Soviet Union started to break down like a house of cards. Everybody were running out of Soviet Union as far as they possibly could. And I remember that Ukraine was the first country who held a proper democratic referendum where people came up and said, no, we want to be independent from the Soviet Union. And I remember how surprising it was for everybody that Ukraine already want to go. And then Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, they were immediately going. They, for 40 years, they knew that it was an occupation. They just ran away as much as possible. I think Ukraine should open for voluntary fighters from Europe. Many would like to participate, and no country will or can stop such. Yes, that's true. Actually, do you have now volunteers? Because I know that volunteers are coming to fight for Ukraine.
Yes, today Vladimir Zelensky signed an agreement according to which the volunteers can join the military of Ukraine and fight against Russia.
And I think everybody wants it. There's so many countries, and coming back to what I said about Soviet Union breaking down, and everybody wanted to have their own state. All those 15 republics of Soviet Union had to have independence and don't have anything to do with Moscow. And I remember then Russia started fighting Chechnya. It was shocking. And Georgia, and every other country who was breaking up. I remember war in Nagorno-Karabakh then, Armenia, Azerbaijan. Russia was trying to keep the territories, but territories wanted to go. Azerbaijan is just as far as it can. I know Kazakhstan. It's not a democracy at all. It's the autocracy, and it's quite a complicated place. However, they want to run away, even with all their autocratic regimes. So I think it will be welcomed by countries themselves, that they will just break into number of different states and stop having that Russia as the dominator with the nuclear power. Actually, how do you feel about this nuclear power threat to European countries?
Yes, I've had that information. I really hope that nobody will use the nuclear power. Also, I hope that countries which support us will use their defense system to destroy any nuclear missile which will be launched. Also, I've heard that it's really possible and highly likely to be used.
My goodness. I know that vacuum bombs were thrown into some of your cities today, which is, I don't know, Russia will not worry about, using weapons that is forbidden or weapons that not supposed to be used. They will lie, they will trick, they will tell one thing, do another thing, then they will blame Ukrainian army. We all know that. We had it so many times.
Yes, I've also heard about that. I also heard that there are a lot of victims because of this bombing. And it's terrible. Also, we have the same situation in Donbas region. So everywhere where Russia is, we have the victims and have the problems.
And around the world, generally speaking, where Russia appears is the problem. And I already can see the trend, because not many people understand the use of that technology. I understand that Donbas area had enough of it. And do you think in Donbas there is a growing understanding that they don't want to be Chechnya too, and they don't want that Russian ruling? Do you have any news about how they feel about all that?
The problem is that they have means of mass media which provide only information which is useful for Russia, which comes from Russia. Because of that, I'm not sure that they are ready to join back to Ukraine. Also, I know that many citizens obtained the Russian passports, and because of that, they have ability to go to Russia. And I don't know. I cannot say on sure that soon Donbas region will have ability to join Ukraine back.
Yes, it is quite difficult when people live under propaganda for so many years. And I remember Soviet Union was under propaganda. I remember half Europe was under Soviet propaganda. I remember Poland had to learn Russian. All children in Polish schools had to learn Russian. All children about all Soviet Union, also even Germany, Czech Republic, they had to learn Russian. The Baltic countries had to learn Russian. And Belarus completely forgot that they've got Belarusian language. But Ukraine always kept their language, always kept their culture, always had a very good identity sense that they are different from Russian. How did it change during independence from 2014? Did you strengthen as the country who understand who they are and how different they are from Russian?
I think that if to speak about 1991 till 2014 period, much more people started speaking Russian than before. But if to speak the period after 2014 and till now, people changed from Russian to Ukrainian because they understood that language is also the mean which Russia uses like a weapon. So, as you have told, it's the country identity, but it's also a weapon used by Russia. They say that they have to defend people who are speaking Russian. They think that people who are speaking Russian are actually citizens of Russia. True, we are Ukrainians. We can speak any language which we want, but almost all Ukrainians know knows Ukrainian language. Sorry.
That's
my
great
opinion.
because Kazakh, I know they have done a reform and they even changed the alphabet from Cyrillic to Latin. I know Ukraine has the different alphabet. It's Cyrillic alphabet, but with different letters, and it is different letters on different occasion. And unless you're Ukrainian, you don't know. So it's like a secret code. So I'm glad you've got that weapon, because now you've got lots of groups of Russians who are coming into the cities in order to commit some crimes, some provocations, and then blame it on somebody. But you can identify who they are because they can't pronounce words properly and because they don't know language as good as native people. So you can identify who is the spy, who is who is not spy, which is quite handy. I found it. I found it quite handy.
Yeah, I also agree that.
The question is, do you believe that the Russian people support this invasion?
I hope that speaking about the majority, they don't support. When I heard the interviews of Russian military men who speak with their parents, their parents do not know that they came to Ukraine to invade it. They mainly think that they are in Russia or in Belarus, and they do not do anything illegal. But actually, those people are forced to come to us. And because of that, I'm pretty sure that the main crime is done by the governments of Russia and Belarus.
Thank you. I also believe that those young guys, like 18, 20 years old soldiers, they are coming because they really thought they're still on a military training, and they were moved for a couple of months here and there, here and there, and then they suddenly appear in Ukraine. Not suddenly, but it is quite difficult for them to understand which territory they're in, and then they suddenly find themselves in the situation when they're getting killed for sure, and it is not a military training, and they have no idea about it. And I think it is devastating. It is devastating news to their parents, and it is devastating to all of us. But unfortunately, there are also another kind of soldiers who came to kill, and they are like a specially trained military forces who are coming with the aim to kill. I guess there are another group which is coming to establish control of the area, and there's probably another group of people who are coming especially to put control on the people who are against them and start to attack civilians and terrorize civilians. Do you have any infrastructure to sort of hold them off? Do you have this when you are planning for defense? Do you have this in mind when you plan for defense?
Well, we didn't use it here, but I think that we will need to destroy the signs on the roads to make it impossible to navigate for them. Also, we know that there are some beacons which they use in order to navigate in the country. We try to find them and destroy too. Also, there will be some kind of other surprises, which I will not say maybe for now.
Yeah, don't disclose it. They shouldn't know what you planned.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I think we may start finishing our interview because I know you've got COVID, and I'm a bit sorry that you need to get some rest, because I know the area you are in is, you are in the war, and I don't want to keep you longer. But thank you so much for coming. And
yes, thank you very much for having me.
I really wish you well, and and I'm sure everybody who now watching this program and will be watching in recording, they all are for you, and they all hold on with you, and we wish you well, and we do wish you to win. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for coming.
Thank you very much.
And to everybody who listened to us tonight, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for staying with Ukraine. And we will be updating you and come up to see you and talk to you as much as we can with any news we've got. So good night, and